Hey friends, how are you? Hope you're well and you've had a good couple of weeks. Sorry there was no video last week. I had an absolute stinky sinus infection. I was at the doctor, I was on antibiotics, I was on steroid spray, nasal spray, even had to do it back on Monday because I was just feeling so rough that I've ended up with actual steroid tablets to try and clear everything away. Actually, I'm still a bit congested and my energy levels are not that great anyway because of the ME, but my energy levels are absolute zero. It is like I have got no energy whatsoever. I could just sloth about all day, honestly. I don't know, I've never had, I know I don't have a lot of energy as I say, but this is just like, almost like wiped me out. It's just like, oh. But hey ho, we're back making videos and that's good and I'm happy about that. So, reading wise over the last couple of weeks, I've actually managed to read, which does surprise me quite a bit, but yeah, I have managed to read. So let's discuss some of the books I've read. So I read Christmas at Cedarwood Lodge by Rebecca Raisin. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 out of 5. So we meet Cleo, and Cleo has always wanted to revamp and reopen the Cedarwood Lodge in her hometown. And she thinks it'll be a great place for weddings, parties, for people to come and have a holiday where they can basically unwind, a good old-fashioned holiday with like not a lot of technology, etc. And where they can have activities, the garden's nice, they can sit out by the pond, there's a lake, and everything. And she buys the lodge, and most people are happy about it apart from her mother. And she's the one person that Cleo wanted, to have the support of, but her mum is just not very, very happy. The relationship is not that great anyway, but this kind of deteriorates it even further. But Cleo is helped in this endeavour by her best friend Micah, and also by a really nice, good-looking construction manager called Kai, who is very outdoorsy, into yoga at midnight, going up the mountain and stuff like this, and he kind of helps Cleo, just rediscover spending time for herself, on herself, and also giving her a different perspective on life. She's also joined in this venture by a young lady called Isla who comes to do the gardens. And then there's also her best friend. I'm just blanking on her name at the moment. What is her name? Part of me wants to see Amory? Yes, I think her name is Amory. And she comes and she ends up working at the lodge as well. I really, really enjoyed this. It was really lovely. I liked the characters. I liked the way that we learnt about how they were doing the renovations, and we got some of the backstory of the lodge. We got to meet other people for whom the lodge had meant something, and that was really, really nice. So yeah, this is like only my second Rebecca Raisin, and I'll definitely be reading more. I'm going to check and see if there are more in this series because it was really, really enjoyable. I then buddy read with Beth from Soulstein Dink, Keeper of the Lost City, Everblaze by Shannon Messenger. This is book 3 in the Keeper of the Lost Cities series. I gave this 3 out of 5. I did enjoy it. I have to say I did enjoy it, but there were bits in this that really didn't sit well with me. There is a couple of scenes in particular that I found very unsettling and did not like. So Sophie is obviously still coming to terms with all her abilities and, still sort of finding her feet in the Lost Cities. And various things are happening, and that the Black Swan, this sort of supposed rebel group, are not really helping her much, and she needs their help. And the school, some of the people at the sort of school are helping, but they're putting a lot of pressure on her to do things that maybe she's not comfortable with at the age of 13, and I totally get that. There is one incident that I understand why she tried to do what she tried to do. She shouldn't have done it, but I think the consequences of that act and what the council decided, I thought was absolutely abhorrent. I really do. It was not the way to handle that situation, and I felt so sorry for Dex. I felt so sorry for Sophie. It was awful. And yeah, I don't want to say much because I really don't want to give plots away, but that's what I'm going to say. Will I continue with it? Yes, I probably will continue. But I've read a couple of books recently where if you're different and you have, then in some ways in the two books I read, you to be punished for this difference, and I don't know. I don't think that's the right message to be sending out personally. So I then read another Chalet School fill-in. I read The Bettany Twins and the Chalet School by Helen Barber. And this I thoroughly enjoyed. I gave this one, what did I give this one? Hold on, 4 out of 5. So we re-meet Dick Bettany, who is Madge Bettany, who started the Chalet School, is her twin brother. And he and his wife have been out in India because he works for the forestry out there. And they have 6 kids now. 4 of these kids are already over in the UK with Madge and her husband James, or Dr. Jem. And the two of the girls, Peggy and Bride, are already at the Chalet School. Peggy has a twin brother, Rick, and he's at school, and also he has a younger brother, Jackie. In India at the moment are Maeve and Morris, the second twins. And something is going on that Dick has to come back. Dick and his wife Molly and Maeve and Morris have to come back from India really quickly to the UK, supposedly because he has inherited a house, and that's kind of the excuse that they are using, that they're coming home. But there is another underlying storyline, and it's the story of a family coming back together after not being together and learning to live with each other. It's also the story of a set of twins who are being separated for the first time in their lives because they're going to go to different schools, and they're not too happy about it. It's also partly Maeve's story of trying to settle into having 2 older sisters and being put into going to the Chalet School as well. It was a really well written story. I gave this one, as I say, 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it as a fill-in. I thought it was really, really good, and I'm looking forward to more fill-ins. I then read an old backlist of Nora Roberts. I read Midnight Bayou. I gave this one 3.5 out of 5. It was okay. So we meet Declan, who has given up his prestigious job as a lawyer in Boston and has bought Manny Hall in New Orleans. And he's always wanted this house, and he decides he's going to restore it, sympathetically. And that is, I really enjoyed learning bits about, how he was doing things. The hall has some ghosts, and there's some, shall we say, paranormal activity, and that has to do with Declan, and also with a young lady, like a lady he meets called Angelina, and both of them have connections to the hall in its, you know, in its previous life, way back in the 1900s, I think, early 1900s, 1888. So there is that, and they get kind of flashbacks of things, of what happened at the hall, and it's really, really interesting. You know, I did like it. I found it a bit slow, I have to say. I did find it a bit slow, but this was written way back. When was it written? Not way back, but you know what I mean. This was written 2001, so you know, it's over 20 years old. Yes, I enjoyed it, but probably for me, not one of her best. I then read on my Kindle my tool publishing pick for the month, and that was A Match Made in Montana by Elsa Winckler. This is my first book by her, and it will not be my last. I loved it. So we meet Annie. Now Annie has moved to Marietta, Montana to run a B&B. Her parents have died, and her fiance left her like a couple of weeks before her wedding. So she wants a brand new start. So she comes out to Montana, to Marietta, with her brother and sister, and they, at the moment, are living with her. Her sister is engaged, and is due to be married. So you know, they're very happy in Marietta, and Annie loves running the B&B. She's loved doing it up, and she has a great passion for cooking and baking, and just loves making people feel at home and comfortable, etc. in the B&B. The only thing is that marketing is not her best ploy. It's not her best strength, and she is struggling with that. She's struggling to get people to actually come and sort of book the B&B. So enter Craig, who has come to Marietta because he needs a vacation. He's here for 2 weeks. His cousin is actually marrying Annie's sister, so he's aware of Annie, okay, and he quite likes her, but he's not a man for commitment. But Craig is a marketing specialist, and Craig's Auntie Janice decides to play matchmaker and thinks that Craig would be really good for Annie, that he's really just what she needs, and vice versa, and sort of persuades him to help Annie come up with a marketing campaign for the B&B. Both are they are fighting this attraction, but she agrees to let him help her with their marketing, and they spend time together, and they're more drawn to each other, and I really, really liked it. It was so well written. The characters were just so fun, and I loved the setting of Marietta, which was really interesting because Marietta is also the setting for the Chocolate Shop series that I've read. I've read three of them three of the books by Melissa McClone that I used as my Book and a Bake series episode for last month. So it's really nice that this is in the same town. And what I really liked is that the B&B is on a road called Bramble Lane, which I thought was just so nice. But I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 out of 5. I just really did enjoy it. I thought it was a really fun read, and I'm definitely going to be reading. I know there are more in the series, and I'm definitely going to be reading more. I then picked up Rain Shadow Road by Lisa Kleypas. I've never read Lisa Kleypas before, and I will be doing so again. I gave this one 5 stars. This was superb. So we meet Lucy Marin, and she's a glass artist, okay? She makes stained glass, fused glass, and I take lessons in this. So this really, really appealed to me, okay? And I was like, wow. Now, Lucy has always had to, or has been made since she was a child, to take second fiddle to her sister Alice, because her sister Alice had meningitis when she was very young, and her parents basically made allowances for Alice that maybe should not have been made, but they did. And Lucy has been living with her boyfriend Kevin for 2 years, and then he suddenly decides, no, I don't want to be with you anymore. I've been having I'm in love with your sister, and we've been having an affair for X number of months. And this just absolutely floors her, as you would expect. And she ends up going to live with two of her friends, Justine and, oh my goodness, what was Justine's cousin called? I am blanking on that. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, come on. Just talk amongst yourselves a wee minute if you wouldn't mind. Oh, this is really, really annoying. What the heck's Justine's cousin called? Oh. Anyway, they once I'll keep going through this. Justine and her cousin run sort of B&B, and they let her, Zoe, they let her stay there for a couple of days, or for a wee while, until she finds somewhere else. And one day she's on the beach and she meets this man called Sam, and they don't really talk, but something happens and he ends up helping her. And Sam is doing up a house that he lives in with his brother and his sister's daughter. Now, Sam, Mark, and their other brother, whose name I blanked on, their sister died, and Mark was left his sister's daughter to bring up, and the boys have been, helping him out. His other brothers have been helping him out. I really enjoyed listening to how they're doing up the house. Sam runs a vineyard, and really, really interesting, because you get a wee bit snippets of how what you do, how they run a vineyard, etc. And then one day Lucy's out on her bike and she gets run over by a person in a car, and she ends up she can't stay at the B&B because they've got a big it's booked out for the next X number of weeks. She ends up living with Sam, and they've been fighting their attraction, and things happen. And also, her sister and Kevin are due to get married, so it's actually quite nice that she's there. As she gets better, she has had a sort of dream of a window that was in the house, and she decides as a thank you she's going to make the window for him, for the house. Interesting thing is that if her emotions are so strong, if she touches glass, it will fragment into something else, such as if she touches it, sometimes butterflies will appear, or a hummingbird, or whatever it is. So that was really, really interesting. I really liked that. I loved the characters in this. I really like the plot line, and definitely going to be reading more of this, or more by her and this series, because I just so really enjoyed it. I then, because I was, at night I wasn't sort of wanting to read per se in bed, I picked up an audiobook, and I'm reading The Merriest Magnolia by Michlelle Major. This is the next book in the Magnolia Sisters series, so I'm really enjoying that. Probably finish it middle of next week. And then I decided I wanted to pick up a bit of a chunker, so I've picked up The Pearl Sister by Lucinda Riley. I managed to read, up to chapter 10 already. If I get good reading in, this could be finished by Monday, I would think. So that's kind of what I'm reading, of what I've read in the last fortnight, what I'm going to be reading, this weekend. Thankfully, my physical TBR is going down, which is good. I'm glad. Not that it was massive anyway, but I'm happy to see it go down. I do have what I am falling down on is I said I wanted to read more from my Kindle. I haven't been doing that. And I think one of the reasons is that in the summertime now I want to read my Kindle outside. I can't because of the fire, so glare, etc. So I think that I have a birthday this month, so I think I may treat myself to a paper white, which means I can read outside more, because we've had some gorgeous weather this week. I've been able to sit outside twice and spent like 2.5 hours in the afternoon out the back, which has been just so nice. And I'm hoping, looking at the weather, I'm going to be able to get out again this afternoon, which is going to be just really lovely. So yes, it would be nice to have my Kindle that I could, read outside with it. So I think that's the game plan. But plans for this weekend, not a lot. I just need to recover. I really do need to recover. And Mum's been okay, but her joints have been sore, so she hasn't been that great this week. So we're just having a very, 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 very lazy, quiet weekend. There's athletics on tonight, so we'll probably watch that. And say, hopefully get out. If it's sunny, we'll just get out and sit in the sun and just let the vitamin D do its magic. So that's it. But please let me know what you've been reading the last couple of weeks. I would love to know. Have any of the books that I've read appealed to you, or have you read them? I would love to chat to you about them down in the comments. Let me know what your plans are for the weekend, and what the weather's like with you. I hope it's really nice. But whatever you do, friends, have a great weekend and stay safe and happy reading until my next video. Bye.